Lightweighting means reducing mass and consolidating parts. No one tackles these design and tooling challenges better than three-dimensional services. We'll provide flexible tooling solutions, including integrating parts, reducing design complexity, or even design changes. We're the go-to source for rapid manufacturing and low-volume production. Trust three-dimensional services to develop the most efficient approach to meet your lightweighting challenges today. Three-dimensional services. Prototype, production, proven.
As you can tell, I like to go fast. Our race team is really well prepared. We like to look good, but we also like to dress good, and that's why we shop at Franklin Road Apparel. I own the company, and I wear the clothes that we sell in that store. So check us out. We carry all the top brands: Baldwin, John Barbados, Billy Reed, Goodman brand, and on down the list. So come see us, Franklin Road Apparel, Franklin, Tennessee.
Hey everyone, welcome to the latest round of Trans Am, which this weekend comes from a gloriously sunny Mid-Ohio sports car course. We're here ready for the second half of the season, which so far has been dominated by one man, Chris Dyson, who has a 51-point lead coming in to this race. Well, one man who knows all about Mid-Ohio, who's been racing here for 30 years and over, is Kerry Hitt. Now, what's the key here for Chris Dyson and those chasing him, Kerry?
Well, obviously everybody wants to get out in front, as Chris is going to be the one to want to do that, and everybody's going to be chasing him. You've got Tommy Dreese, who's going to be hot in his tail, and he's very fast. This is Amy Ruman's home course. You have David Penterick, whose Friday practice was fastest time out there. So you're going to have a lot of people chasing Chris, and of course it's Mid-Ohio. It's challenging. They're fast straights, they're tight turns, decreasing radius turns. A lot can happen during the course of a race. You've got no runoff at the end of the long straight. It's going to be a challenging race. It's going to be fun.
Well, you're absolutely right, Kerry. There's a bunch of challenges to Chris Dyson's crown. In my interest is with second place Tommy Dreese, who is now equal on points with Ken Thwaites, who's yet to win a race. We caught up with Ken with Ben Sissel.
Thank you, Johnny. I'm here with Ken Thwaites, who is currently tied for second in points in TA. Watching Ken's career, that's got to feel pretty good being this close to Tommy Dreese.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, we've just been plugging away all season long, and we've got 4 third-place finishes, 4 podiums. So, you know, at the end of the day, you add it all up, we're tied for second. I'll take it.
Mid-Ohio, one of our most technical courses. You had some bad luck here last year in your TA car, but you did really well in your GT car, the Audi, the SGT car. So what's your plan when the green flag drops?
You know, that was last year, and that's all in the past. To be honest, somebody asked me that question today, and it's like, you know, God, I'd never even thought about it. You know, that ride through China Beach last year and into the tire wall. Now I'm just flat on it, flat as hard as we can go, don't even think about it. And you know what? We're doing a lot better this year than we did last year. So the car's really fast, the team's really solid. And Tommy Dreese and I are just, we're side by side. It's going to be a great race.
Do you feel like it's an advantage to have that short memory of you don't remember what happened last year, you're off focused ahead? So are you one of those drivers that might get it a little bit wrong at turn 5 and not go into turn 5 thinking, I'm going to get it wrong? You just try to think, I'm just going to do it right?
Yeah. You know, driving a race car it's not simple, but it is by the numbers. You go to a brake mark, you hit that brake mark, and if you stop too soon, then you take it in a little bit deeper. But you take it to the brink and you don't press it from there. And you know you can make the corner, so you just don't go past that limit. You know, when I had my crash here last year, I stepped on the brake pedal, went all the way to the floor, and I knew I was going for a wild ride.
So we await the start of Trans Am TA in action here at Mid-Ohio, and as I said at the top, it's been pretty much dominated by Chris Dyson. Not a surprise to anybody involved in Trans Am racing, especially the man alongside me, Kerry Hitt. Kerry knows these drivers' abilities in and out, and of course the series in and out. Not racing at the moment, just taking a little time off. But Kerry, Mid-Ohio, you've been racing it many years. A big challenge, and for lots of different reasons, but as you can see the full grid there, we've got a full complement, and this is going to be interesting because we've got some different drivers out there that we haven't seen, like Kaz Grala in pole position, who are going to give Dyson a run for his money, I think.
I think he is. You know that the first time he ever sat behind the wheel of a Trans Am car was this week.
That's
like 3
amazing.
days ago. Yeah. I was talking to Pancho Weaver, and he's real pleased with him. The guy's got done a good job. I guess he does trucks, but he's I think he's an up-and-coming star. Everybody else who's out there are pretty much seasoned in terms of Trans Am. It's going to be a great race. You know, this course is so technical. It's really one of my favorite courses. It just has everything. As I said, it's got long straights. It's got decreasing radius turns. It's got carousels. It's got the carousel in it. It's a fun course. Yeah.
Well, as you can see, the clock ticking down, so no further ado, let's get down to Ben Sissel, who's on the pre-grid.
Thank you, Jonathan. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm down here all the way in the back with the 0-0. I'm not used to seeing this because this man won the Daytona 500, his first race here in the Trans Am Series. Welcome to Trans Am, and I know you as a very fast driver, so what are you going to do to kind of fix all this back here?
Well, we've had a lot of errors with the car and some things. First time for the car, so we're certainly just trying to use it as a test session. But having a lot of fun. It's great to be here. A lot of great competition here. So go out and just have some fun. Get the car through this, through the field, and just see what kind of race car we really have.
Now, Derek, when you're describing this to your NASCAR friends, how do you describe these TA monsters?
Well, it's a little beast. I mean, I am really tickled. It's about the same horsepower as the old-time Cup cars had, right? Before we had restrictor plates or tapered spacers, and the thing's a little animal, and a lot of big footprint now with this 18-inch tire. A lot of fun to drive. Dallenbach got me into this. I have him to blame for this, but having a ball. So looking forward to the day.
Nice,
Yeah.
Derek Cope.
Thanks so much.
Good luck. And Wally Dallenbach, he's pretty good at getting people into the TA series. Now we're going to come over here and talk to hometown legend Amy Ruman. The Amy Army is strong. Amy, I spoke to you just a little bit ago. You seem a little disappointed.
Yeah, we're in the back. Obviously, that's not where we wanted to be today, but we had a little problem mechanically yesterday in qualifying, so we didn't get a hot lap. But we'll have some fun today. We'll work up from the back. It'll be like a video game, so we'll try to pass some people, and hopefully we'll catch a yellow and get a break and try to get back in the fray up front.
Nice, and I love it. It looks like the Amy Army is loud and proud. So let's have a win from the back, Amy. Jack Rinke, beautiful car here. I saw that he's with Todd Naparowski, who's always got one of my favorite GT Camaros. But Jack, I'm unfamiliar with you in the series. Tell us about your Trans Am history.
Well, this is actually my first race for Mid-Ohio, so I met Todd not too long ago. Went to a test track, Gingerbread Raceway. Got to drive this car a little bit. Thought we might bring it out to Mid-Ohio and turn some good laps.
Nice. I love it. Anybody you want to thank for putting all this together?
Oh, my gosh. My whole team, my dad, Kevin over here, Stephanie, Todd for making this all happen, everyone that's working on the car here today to make this happen. Chris for training me for all these years, getting ready for this first debut moment. It is. A whole lot of work. Really happy to be here.
Nice. Well, welcome to Trans Am. Now I'm going to go to the biggest dude in the field and maybe the smallest car in the field, which might be an advantage at Mid-Ohio, Cary Grant. And I talked to you yesterday. You're planning on doing the rest of the series and the season with us, but Mid-Ohio and a Porsche, seems like you're going to have the advantage in some areas.
I think so. It's a good handling car. Does a great job. Hiding my family at home. And we're looking forward to the rest of the season. It was dialed in pretty good this weekend. It's a real slick track. Likes to push towards the end, so we're hoping that it stays nice and tight and handles well, and we can focus forward and keep up with the rest of the competition.
Speaking of the rest of the competition, looks like your dad is way up there. How's that feel?
He put a lap together yesterday. It was great. Great that he got his poles, first Trans Am pole. And by the way, today's my 150th race.
Nice. 150 races in a Tennessee hat. Cary Grant, unbelievable. That is awesome. So we're going to come down here. So Cary Grant is in this beautiful number 6 Porsche. Todd Naparowski. This thing, to me, I've always said this for years. If Darth Vader drove a race car, this might be the car he drives. Todd, welcome back to the series, man. I love this car.
Thanks, appreciate it. Thanks. We're good to be back. Good to be back. We're hoping to be back next year full time. So we're testing some new systems on this car, validate them, and come back full time next year.
Nice. And thank you for bringing Jack Rinke with you. How cool is that? Then Lee Saunders, longtime SGT driver, I think 2-time champion, is that right, Lee? But this is a different car. And Lee, of all things, brings out a bright, shiny black race car, which is, to me, a little bit crazy. But how's this Viper treating you?
Good, good. So we didn't have long to prepare it, so it's an unknown. We pretty much put it together in like 3 or 4 days. But hats off to Kevin and Drew at KSR. Win with KSR. They attacked it, and like I said, 3 or 4 days, had it together, and so far so good.
Nice.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Lee Saunders here in the Viper. We've got this beautiful Audi R8 right here. Then here's Cary Grant's dad, Milton Grant, all the way up here in front of his son. Milton, congratulations. Jose Chacron, where is he? I saw him around here somewhere. Here he is. Jose, you got to come talk to us. We're live here, all the way from Panama, so you've got to win the award for this race for the longest travel. How's it feel to be at Mid-Ohio?
Well, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me in this series. And, well, I like the track, very tricky, and we're going to do the best we can.
Nice. Jose Chacron, in our wall of flags over there, we're flying the Panama flag for Jose. So we've got legend Ryan McManus back with us here. Claudio Burton in the number 9 car. Then we're going to come over here, talk to Tommy Dreese. Tommy Dreese's had some good runs at Mid-Ohio. Sounds like some Dreese fans, too, as he signs autographs. Tommy Dreese, I know you've got a lot of history here. Paul Gentilozzi's got a lot of history here. How are you going to put this thing together?
We've had quite a weekend, and the guys in front are fast, and I just been a little bit behind, so I think the goal is, first of all, we got to race next weekend, so we got to think about that, keep the car clean, and I don't know, maybe just pass a couple cars before turn 1, because you can win a race on the first lap at turn 1. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I don't think you can. Not to my math.
No, I think, hey, they've been really, everybody in front of me is in front of me right now, so the goal is just maybe pick a couple off, a little bit here, and then just go after Dyson and Maddie and the green car.
Nice. Tommy Dreese, good luck out there. We're going to try to move up to the front. We spoke to Ken Twaits earlier in this beautiful Camaro. We've got David Penterick here, the number 57 Ford Mustang. And like I said earlier, we've got Chevy, Ford, and Dodge all in the top 5, the big 3 fighting it out once again here in the Trans Am Series, which is so much fun. Well, first, let's go to Chris Dyson real quick. I see he's over here in the tent being smart with Tony Perella. Chris Dyson back with Matt Brabham at Mid-Ohio. How's it feel?
Well, it's always great to be back here at Mid-Ohio. These Trans Am cars are just absolutely spectacular around here. Both our cars have been lightning quick all weekend. It's wonderful to have Matthew back here with us, filling in for Hamed. And I think the Altwell car is terrific. I think, we focus on the race balance. Didn't factor really for qualifying as I'd hoped, but we got 100 miles to go here, and we're going to try to give it our best shot.
I love the honesty from Chris Dyson. I've been told I got to go up there. So, Matt, I'm going to talk to you at podium. Is that a deal? Cool. Matt Brabham is with us. So here's the Matt Brabham car starting second. And this beautiful all-Graham car here, the number 21. And then Kaz Gralla, our Motul Pole Award winner. Kaz Gralla, I'm not seeing him around. We did speak to him earlier. And looking for Pancho Weaver. But he is in this beautiful Dodge Challenger, and like I said before, the only one not on center locks, and the only one, to my knowledge, in the top 4. Pancho, quickly, how's it feel to be back on pole at Mid-Ohio?
Hey, Ben, it's great. Kaz is such a great talent and such a new talent, and here he's walking up right now, matter of fact. Come on in here, Kaz.
Yeah, come in here real quick, though. Kaz, pole at Mid-Ohio, that's got to feel good.
It sure does. This is one of my favorite tracks, and this car is a dream to drive. So,
I'm sorry, we got to go. Jonathan, I know you're going to go through the grid. Sorry, Kaz, but Jonathan, run through this grid for us, please.
At Ryan, we seek to understand our clients' unique business needs and offer insights from over 75 years of experience. Our menu of integrated services span the entire life cycle of your building, from financing and development to design and construction to property management and maintenance. We think like building owners because we are building owners, and we work hard to assure that your building stays functional and cost-effective for generations to come.
My name is Monse, and I am a senior at Cristo Rey. We bring high school students and corporations together to transform education. I work 1 day a week at Ryan Companies. There are Cristo Rey schools serving students across the country. Visit CristoRayNetwork.org and learn how you can become a corporate partner today.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio. Great stuff from Ben Sissel as he walked down the pre-grid. But let's just confirm our grid for today. And it looks like this in TA, XGT, SGT, and GT. Kaz Grala in his first ever Trans Am race. Not a bad start, is it? Pole position. Matthew Brabham doing well in Indy Lights and doing well in Trans Am on the front row. His teammate Chris Dyson on row 2 and the championship leader. David Pinterick looking good and racing at home in the 57 in 4th. Ken Twaits second in the championship, equal with the man alongside him, Tommy Dreesy. Ryan McManus, always a factor in that Corvette, in 7th. Claudio Burton, good to have him back in 8th position. Jose Chacon of Panama, as you heard there, in 9th position. Milton Grant, 10th. Seth Lucas in 11th place. And Lee Saunders in SGT in 12th. Todd Naparalski in 13th, Cary Grant in 14th position, Jack Rinke in 15th, and Amy Room will have some work to do, and she'll need that army of fans to cheer her on from 16th. And on the 17th, Derek Coate coming in for Wally Dollenbach, who's under the weather, but we wish, the Trans Am family does, wish our former champion well as he recovers, and we'll see him back in action, I'm sure, later in the year. As you can see, it's been a beautiful weekend here at Mid-Ohio. We're right in the middle of the cornfields, right in the middle of the countryside, about an hour south of Columbus, Ohio. It's a beautiful part of the USA, and as you can see, this is America's championship. This is muscle cars. It's been going since 1966. Alongside me, Jonathan Green, will be Kerry Hitt, who will take us through the action of this 100-mile race. We're about to get underway. We've got a few more formalities to do before we hear that famous roar and those famous words. But it's going to be an interesting race, this. Kaz Grala on pole position. Dyson's got some support from Matthew Brabham, who's been a great wingman, who made Masood not able to make it, and Matthew Brabham has turned out to be a really good wingman in circumstances like this. So he will be used and definitely be part of this race yet again. It's going to be interesting, this, and I know that Kerry's got a fair few thoughts about this Mid-Ohio course. We'll talk to him in a moment. But as we get ready for this 100-mile race, the heat is going up. The track is in good condition, but as you heard from Ryle Hyman earlier, a little bit of difference in how slippy it is out there with different types of tires being used. So let's head down to Ben Sissel for our invocation.
Thank you, Jonathan. I am here with Marvin Gray, our road pastor here with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Marvin, take it away.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, please extend to us your favor. We thank you for the opportunity to share the sport we love and the beauty of your creation. Now we ask your blessing and protection for all who are gathered here, for the drivers and crew, the course workers and officials, for the track staff and fans. We ask that you be with our troops and our safety forces. Protect them as they protect us. Finally, we ask that you bring an end to the fighting around the world and heal our land. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Marvin Gray with another beautiful invocation. Thank you very much. And for our national anthem, Patty Schwall, take it away, please.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Wow, Patty Schwall, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We're just a few minutes from the start command, but I'm going to talk to CEO of Stone Ridge, John DeGaynor. It's funny because just last year when Stone Ridge was here, I found out that I only know him as John DeGaynor, the really high-powered sports car driver in his vintage Devon. But it turns out he's the CEO of Stone Ridge. He's got 200 employees here. His factory can hear racing at Mid-Ohio. John, tell us a little bit about what Stone Ridge does.
So Stone Ridge is a global supplier of components for the commercial vehicle and automotive space. We make sensors and actuators and mirror replacement systems for customers all around the world. And this plant in Lexington, Ohio, does a great job of making sensors and actuators for passenger car market customers like General Motors and Ford. So we're really thrilled to have the team here today.
And now when I see you with your team, it seems like a family. Everybody seems to get along. You guys like working at Stone Ridge. Get in here tight, guys, because we are about to have these ladies and gentlemen give us the most famous words in motorsports. And I know, John, as a motorsports enthusiast, this must mean a lot to you. But ladies and gentlemen, from Stone Ridge, I need you to be loud and proud, delivering the most famous words in motorsports. Take it away.
Drivers, start your engines!
And here we are. We're about to get underway. I just wanted to pause to hear that roar, and when we do, we will pause again because it is one of the greatest sounds in motor racing, especially when it's Trans Am, because you don't get any better than the sound of Trans Am. Powering up. Kaz Grala getting ready for his first ever Trans Am. Can he hold off a hard-charging young Matt Brabham? And yes, it is the Brabham name. As you would suspect, he comes from that legacy of great Brabhams that began with Sir Jack, the great Formula One Australian champion. And everybody just strapping themselves in and getting ready for that moment when we hear those engines. Kerry, get a little nervous, get a little butterfly in your belly whenever this happens, because it always is that way, isn't it?
Yeah. The delay is, I mean, you're waiting for that moment to happen, and you hit the ignition, and there's always a concern, is it going to start?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, and then once it starts, there's a little bit of relief, so, okay, now we're ready to go. And then you kind of sit there and you get your thoughts, what's going to happen? You sort of have a plan ahead. So the thing is so cool about racing is you can have everything laid out in terms of plan, and this is what I'm going to do, and the green flag drops, and it all changes in a heartbeat. It just sometimes it goes the way you want it, sometimes it doesn't go the way you want it, but it's all that anticipation, and then you have your first couple of corners and first lap or so, and then you kind of fall into a groove, and then it becomes fun.
Yeah, it's the old cliche, but trust what you can control. You can only do so much.
Yeah.
You've got plenty of people all trying to do exactly what you're not trying to do, or trying to do the same as you're trying to do. And that you might have a plan to come first, but so does everybody else.
Exactly, exactly. And you know, the thing is what people don't see. They see the start your engines and the cars are sitting there, but what they don't see is all the work that went into it.
Sure.
You know, I looked out last night, and there Amy Ruman, 11 o'clock, Amy Ruman's pit, the lights were on, and they were working on the car. They were trying to fix the mechanical issues that they had, which they did. I mean, but it's also the adrenaline, and you get the cars ready, and you want to get them going, and it's what's leading up to this, and it's leading up to it in the background. They are still working on Dreese's car. Somebody's trying to get into whatever position they need to do what they have to do.
Yeah,
so.
He won't be there for the 100-mile race. We don't.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I tell you what is going to be interesting is that battle between Dreese and Thwaites. They're alongside each other. They both have 135 points, chasing down the dominant man of this championship, and that, of course, is Chris Dyson. It's also going to be interesting to see where Matt Brabham pops out, because he's there to support, effectively, Dyson's quest to win another title. And great work done by Tony Garcia yet again on the grid as he clears away and lets the drivers do their thing. But Kaz Grala, first time out. Now, he's got a lot of different NASCAR experience. He's still a youngster, but he's been sort of looking at his record. He's been, young guy who's done the first young guy to do this, first young guy to do that. He's done every form of stock car racing, but he's adapted himself well. As you said, 4 days in the car.
First transit race, you put the car in the pole. Happened an awful lot.
No, I think the only person I can remember doing that was the young kid that we had here last year in TA2. And so it is very unknown, and he's up against some very good peddlers.
I know they're looking at running this race, and talk to Pancho if they can put some sponsorship deals together. They're going to look at trying to run Road America too. So.
That's a car that Forrest said has run many times, hasn't it?
It is. Well, actually, they're looking at running two cars. If that happens, they have a second car. The ECC is doing a preparation, which is also a Pancho Weaver car. So they would have two cars out there in the field. I hope it comes together for them, because Road America is such a challenging course, and to have two good talents like Boris and now Kaz coming along, boy, that sure could change the equation in a hurry.
Gary, it's good to have you alongside this weekend, because you're not racing at the moment, but you've seen the transformation of the cars to the bigger wheels. What have you learned? What have you gleaned from what the drivers have said? And I'm sure you're chomping at the bit to get out there and try it for yourself. Yeah. But what have you heard?
Well, we're going to go to Watkins Glen.
Okay.
So what it is with the tires, they went to the 18-inch tires. The thing that's really great about that is the construction of the tire now is smaller. The sidewall of the tire is smaller, so there's not as much give, there's not enough sway, so the tire responds a whole lot better than it would than the 16-inch tires did. And with that, then they can put the bigger brakes on, and it just better stopping. I talked to Ken Thwaites about it. He loves the fact that you can just you don't really stop any faster, but you can go. You stop faster, but you go into the corner deeper. So actually, you do stop faster. And go ahead.
Yeah, we're just going through the onboards. Just want to remind people, the Lucas onboard, the Franklin Road Apparel onboard with Ken Thwaites, and of course this Lucas one with Tommy Dreese. We'll be keeping it up to date, and keep to look on the V-Box Motorsport to the left there. You'll be able to see Tommy working the car, and we get an insight into that. So we'll have several different angles covered for you from an onboard point of view. Carry on.
Okay. So the brakes are good. The brakes are good. The tires are good, and there's a little bit more aero on the cars that makes the brakes and the tires work better. So sounds like they're coming around. I guess they're on the back straight.
Yeah,
right
they're
now.
on the back straight behind us. Yeah.
So it's going to be a great race.
Looking forward to this then, and Kaz Grala will lead this field in the all-yellow Pancho Weaver prepared car. And as you heard, not a lot of experience, but he's got a lot of experience elsewhere. And I do believe that if you've got stock car experience, you can jump into this one. Matt Brabham wasn't that dissimilar. He's had a lot of single-seater and historic, and as well as truck racing experience, and he's a young guy. But boy, did he take the Trans Am.
Yeah. They're fun cars to drive. They're easy from the standpoint of they are they're a driver's car. There are no analog brakes, no assistance or anything. So if you're a good driver, you can adapt to a car that handles well and accelerates well. You're going to adapt to these Trans Am cars pretty well.
Now, Kerry, one thing that you were telling me yesterday, you must have been racing this circuit for, over 30 years now, and in every different form of car. But particularly in Trans Am, I remember a couple of years ago we had a race, and Raoul Hyman mentioned this, the grass on the edges of this circuit, because it's such a great place for growing crops and fields of wheat and so on and so forth, and corn. If you get on the grass here at Mid-Ohio, I remember several cars, including Ernie Francis Jr., having to come in, having gone off track, and put all the grass in the radiators, which started to overheat the car. So it's great that you've got the runoff, but you've got to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the grass is your friend from the standpoint of not having something solid there to go on, but it's not your friend from. So you go off the track and you cut into the grass. These splitters in the front of that are just got big lawnmowers. Yep. They cut the grass off and then they clog up the grill. Of course, then the engine starts to overheat, and then you've got to come in and just do a quick brush off. Lots of different ideas people have. I've seen chains hanging down off the front with bolts on them. The other trick is to get in behind a car. You get really close behind the car, and it just sucks the air right off of it. So you want to try that, especially if you're in a good position and you really don't want to come into the pits. Well, you never really want to come into the pits, but you pull up behind a car and you do everything you can do to get it to cool down. So.
All right, then, in a moment, we're about to get Kaz Grala's first start. The man from Morseville, North Carolina, for the Technic Chassis Steel It Weaver Dodge Challenger. But he's got a bunch of challengers behind him, including Matthew Brabham from Indianapolis in the all-Grand Ford Mustang. Teammates, of course, to our championship leader, 5 times a winner, Chris Dyson. The safety car is off, and Kaz Grala now holds control of this race, and on the inside is Matthew Brabham. It's slippy on that side, but can Matthew steal a march on Kaz Grala from the start? We're about to find out, as they will start, remember, down the back straight. That will be into turn 4. Is it easier to do that than go into turn 1 at a race start here? Because you've probably done both.
Oh, yeah. The turn 1 is you get a lot of traffic. It gets awfully balled up, and it's just a really good idea to start them on the straight in the back. Get cars a little chance to straighten out, get a little more single file. Everybody goes piling in under that bridge into turn 1, and it just turns into mayhem.
So there's a kink at the end of the main back straight here, coming out of the keyhole that we're in now. This is the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers keyhole, and then they'll line up 2 by 2, and that kink is coming up in about 400 yards. They'll get the green flag, and then they'll dive down towards turn 4, which is cambered, so there's plenty of room for both overtaking and staying on track. Ken Thwaites getting very close to the back of Tommy Dreese and of Chris Dyson. But away they go. Kaz Grala leads this race, and they dive now for the first time into turn 4. Grala holding the lead, but look at this. Matthew Brabham uses the camber in the outside run. Now he's got the inside, and he has done his math. And look at that. The 21 takes the lead away from Grala, but Grala comes back at him as they head down into the S's for the first time. But Brabham leads this race. Dyson slots into the third. Grala is in now second place. Great stuff. And that was textbook racing from Matt Brabham, wasn't it?
Great job, both of them. Great job. Both Matthew and Kaz, they held their lines. They raced. They're gentlemen. They each one had an opportunity. That's what I like about sports car racing. That's what I like about Trans Am.
Going to keep an eye on David Pintarek too. This is his home race as they come through the carousel for the first time. Dyson popping out, having a look at the inside of Grala. Stays in line though into turn 1, but it's a 1, 2, 3, and Brabham leads the way. Brabham from Grala, and then Dyson. Pintarek, the man I'm looking at from Canfield, Ohio, in the Kydra Racing Ford Mustang. We're on board with Dyson. He's in third at the moment and probably quite happy. Look at Grala coming back at him already at the keyhole. He's got plenty of experience here at Mid-Ohio, knows this track well, and has had some good experience there. And look at the grunt of the Weaver car on Matt Brabham, and through into the lead goes Kaz Grala back again as we watched it all from Dyson's position down to turn 4. Good stuff, Kerry.
Boy, it is great stuff. Yeah, they've got some power in that Dodge. The car is quick, and it handles well too. I know that Poncho put a lot of effort into mechanical grip, and it pays off in tracks like this.
Kerry, you're the man to ask this. Why haven't Dodge, which has been such a part of the history of Trans Am, had more entries in the previous years, in more modern times?
I don't know. You know, we kind of get, they say hand-me-down engines. We have the ones that are developed for NASCAR. Dodge is well developed. Ford's pretty well developed. They're now going to the RO7s, which are well developed. And as you can see, they've got a lot of horsepower. And boy, he opened up a good lead right there.
Whoa! And Ken Thwaites almost get turned around by Tommy Greasy. Remember, they're both on 135 points. Tommy playing hard early on in this 100-mile race. And Tommy definitely in that Lucas car, all blue, making his presence felt. And Ken won't like that much.
Ken has really come a long way. He's developed as a driver tremendously, yes.
And he's also been such a big part of this sport because he's got a 4-car team in Trans Am as well as his self-racing. And like you said, former XGT, he was our first XGT champion. And now he is fighting with the likes of Tommy Dreesy, and you can see as we go on board with Tommy, miles per hour, over 170 plus miles an hour there at the fastest part of that back straight and into turn 4. Good battle though. Ken Thwaites knows how to keep this car, that Camaro, wide as he possibly can. Putting on a show, these two.
He's opening up a little distance there too. Tommy's not right on his tail as he was earlier.
Well, good clean start. Really like this so far. And great to have Kerry Hitt, who will be back at Watkins Glen. Always a good place to go racing. And at the moment, Kaz Grala leading this race. He did a 1:24.1 last time out to Matt Brabham's 1:25.2. And that's why the gap is now half a second as we go back on board with Tommy Drees as he chases down Ken Thwaites. 45 laps race. Ooh, Tommy's pushing hard through the carousel. But Tommy looks so comfortable too, though. When he's in the mood, you can't stop Tommy Dreesy.
I'll tell you what, he is amazing. He just puts his nose down to it and goes. And he's a great driver.
And of course, now he's managed, of course, or at least the team is managed by Paul Gentilozzi. And I got a feeling that that's really it's just added a little bit more edge to Tommy's approach to the racing because Paul doesn't like anything but winning.
Oh, exactly, exactly, yeah. The problem they had at Lime Rock last race is a shame. You know, I got to tell you though, a little about Tommy. He actually called my shop and he thanked me. Asked me to thank the guys for working so hard to get the parts for his car to get it back together because it was a real short turnaround.
That's great. That's nice. He is a gentleman. There's no question. Now, talking of gentlemen, how about the lady? Amy Ruman here at home with the Ruman Army, up to 9th already, ahead of Jose Cochran, and she is behind Ryan McManus at the moment. So Amy Ruman on a tear at the moment and trying to get through the field. There she is, some 4.3 seconds behind McManus, but they're in the top 10 already. Dyson pushing on in 3rd place. Now he's got Brabham in front of him. And these two need to push on and stay with Grala. Keep an eye on SGT and GT as we go into the first turn with Chris Dyson. And you know what? If you've been around this sport for a while, no one would take away a sort of Lewis Hamilton-like era for Chris Dyson because it's great when he shows up, but he deserves a win every time he gets one. There's no lucky win.
They work so hard. That team works so hard. I mean, it's a full-time job. They're all dedicated, and they all do good work. They want perfection. Chris wants perfection. They want perfection, and it's certainly a team effort.
Yeah, it was great to see his dad give the command last time out at Lime Rock, his home race, and of course his father. What a footsteps to follow him, but the Dyson dynasty continues. On board with Dreesy down the back straight again, everything shaking inside there. It's a lot more physical than everybody really gives it. It looks smooth from here, but it's not, is it, Gary?
Yeah, it looks like a nice Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Tell you what, probably hitting temperatures somewhere between 100 and 150 inside the car. You've got your helmet on, your balaclava on, your fire suit. We do run cool suits. I tell everybody I got 30 years younger when I put my cool suit on.
Does it really make that much difference?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But what about the weight? Has it a lot of weight to have?
Yeah, well, there is weight. They've got the
not just cool. You physically, I just mean to have the cooling part.
Yeah. Well, it is. But to me, it's worth it.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So, yeah.
No, I'll bet. I would do it. So Dyson currently in 3rd place, a little further down. We're still keeping an eye on Amy Ruman. She's still there in 7th place. Milton Grant is in 11th at the moment. We're on board with Dyson, still in 3rd. Good clean start to this one. No big problems. 63 minutes, 45 laps in total with 6 in. Andrisi yet to get past Ken Thwaites. And in fact, if anything, Ken is just holding station at the moment as they come through the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers keyhole.
Ken's doing a great job.
Well, he's coming down to his own corner, the Franklin Road Apparel Turn 4. And if you want to go online, the clothing that he sells is absolutely second to none. I'm delighted to have a Trans Am shirt from Ken's place, and they put on a good option of different clothing, and Ken looking very smooth indeed. I love to watch the hands of a racing driver. You can tell a lot from that. It's when it's not too ferocious, the approach to the, it's nice and smooth, then you know the guy's in control.
Smooth is good. Smooth is fast.
Yeah, smooth is fast. Exactly right. Well, Kaz Grala doing a really good job at the front. He calmed down, he lost first place, he regathered, got back into the lead and hasn't looked back since, and in fact has put in some really good laps since then. In fact, the fastest lap of the race, but only by a tenth at 122.4.
I find it interesting that the Franklin Road Apparel is turn 4, which happens to be the turn that Ken went off of last year. So nothing like getting back on the horse that threw you, huh?
No kidding.
Yeah.
SGT at the moment led by Milton Grant in second place. Lee Saunders in that famous Viper. He's changed the number. It's a 44 this time than his usual number, but he'll take it whichever way. And Seth Lucas leading in GT. Cary Grant still up there in 15th overall and racing hard in SGT. Jack Rinke going well in 17th in the GT class. There's David Pintaric. Had a couple of races off while he recovered from illness, but delighted to find his step again. He was a little worried about coming back and whether he'd be sharp again, because you don't want to be a racing driver at not 100%, but he very much is back to full form now. It's good to see.
Exactly, yeah. David, I think, tries to do perfection in anything that he does. They've got that new car that they've developed that he was very involved with in developing, that Riley built. And
tell us more. What do you know about the new cars, the new chassis?
Well, as I see it, there's first of all, I saw the car. It's beautiful. Okay, I didn't see anything that was really super different. Good work, well thought out. I think they've made the car easy to work on, which is something that throughout the years these cars. I know Mark Meissen has built a chassis which has been tremendous. Those are the car. Well, that's the car that's in the championship right now, is leading, and has won the last 5 championships. So Mark does a great job. He's a perfectionist himself. So I think what it is, that's probably the first new car that's come along that has some innovative things. They've done a lot with electronics on there, which seems to be some of the other drivers or some of the other teams are looking at it and wondering why there's so much electronics, but that is, I guess, progress, So but he's doing a great job with it. I'm looking forward to him doing well later in the year. He's going to win the next couple of races and then go to the runoffs.
Here's our leader in SGT, Milton Grant. I'm sure you've raced him many a time.
Yeah.
Good family effort with Cary as well.
Yeah, and they've run several, well, I guess 150 races.
I know, it's amazing. Yeah, that was Cary saying that.
Yeah. Well, Richard runs in our class. He runs the Trans Am.
He runs Trans Am.
He's out there, runs well. I talked to him last week. I guess he's going to be a Watkins Glen too. So,
is that a favorite as well as Mid-Ohio?
Yeah. Watkins Glen is pretty much a classic. They have what they call the blue bushes there, that I would rather have the green grass than the blue bushes at Watkins Glen, which are the blue guardrails, and they take a big bite out of the car.
Well, good battle here between Lee Saunders and Seth Lucas. Lee in 13th position in that Dodge Viper, the Land Search LLC Dodge Viper. And as he said, 3 days to prepare it, but he's really happy with the way they've done it. Seth Lucas running for Arve Motorsports in that Audi R8. Great car to have around here, I would have thought. That's the car that, of course, well, not the car, but it's a car, the Audi R8 that Ken Thwaites won, of course, the XGT championship in. So it's a really handy car to have. It's got a lot of good personality to it in terms of it's good in slow corners, but also fast in a straight line. So the R8 definitely competitive in this championship.
You know, you mentioned they got the car prepped in 3 days. I wish I could harness the productivity that is done on a racetrack or at the racetrack in regular business. You know, I mean, the amount of work that gets done and the amount of things that get problems that get solved in the short amount of time at a racetrack is amazing.
Now listen, Kerry, I've asked a few drivers this, and most of them say, or I've asked Adam Andretti this, most of them say it's a 100-mile sprint, but can you segmentize the way you approach a 100-mile race like this? It's hot, it's tough, the tires are going to go off, your fuel load's going to go down, but how do you, if you like, compartmentalize your approach to the race, when you push, when you don't push, when you expect maybe to get a safety car or not?
Well, here again, it's part of the unknowns. You know, a lot of it depends. You can have a whole plan strategized, and then it can change in a moment, right? But a lot would have to do with who you're racing against, who's out there, how hard you're racing against them. You might have one person that's really difficult to get around, and you know you've gone ahead and used up your tires a little more than. So it all just kind of it's all fluid as it starts. And it's 1 second to the next is an unknown.
Now, I'm just looking at Dreesy's onboard, and I'm looking as to where Ken Thwaites has disappeared to.
Yeah.
Because, sadly, I think it's struck the Mid-Ohio curse, has struck again.
Yeah.
Chocron is in the pits at the moment, but I don't see Ken Thwaites. What's happened to Ken?
Not sure.
Let's hope he's not gone off, because that would be a real shame. But he's just...
There he is.
Oh, he's
there he is.
down?
Yeah, he's coming through the carousel.
Okay. There he is.
Yep.
So
and there's
obviously
Dreesy.
that battle. So Dreesy's there, but
Dreesy's there.
So he either Dreesy lost a little time to him, or Ken got away. But really good to see him out there, because they were so close together a moment ago, and now we get our chance to see. Well, there's Chocron. He's out there. I was mistaken. I think it was another car that has come into the pits. But here comes Amy Ruman, the 23 McNichols car, the Corvette, the famous Corvette that she's run for so many years here, former champion of Trans Am herself, and she's looking to try to write the book. She's had some bad luck over the last years. I think it's since 2012 she's really had a good run here. And of course the approach to this one with those transmission issues at the last night. Here we go. There's the car in the pits at the moment. And it is the 17. And I thought I was going to say my eyes weren't deceiving. It is Jose Chocron, the Panamanian, who's in is it Panama? There you go.
Yes, there
confirms
it
it.
Yeah.
It was this car that was fooling me, the 07. But he is okay too, and that's Ryan McManus, and that who is the car that Amy Ruman wants by. She hasn't done it yet. She stays in 9th, but we're watching that battle. So McManus versus Amy Ruman, and he's got a car in front of him as well. And from the drone you start to see the gaps, and you start to see effectively what's ahead of them and what they're going to have to deal with through the carousel and afterwards. Claudio Burton is the car that's at the front of this group, and the GT car gets out of the way. Claudio Burton leading this group of 3 with Amy Ruman at the back of it, but wanting to get through as they come through turn 1. This is good stuff from Amy. Whatever problems they've had, she's on it now. And she really does know this circuit like the back of her hand. She does. No question about it. A lot of fans come to watch her race here at Mid-Ohio, and she's been a big inspiration to women in motorsport for sure over the years. It's great to see more and more coming through. It's great to see our single-seaters with several women involved. And Amy, definitely an inspiration. And Ryan McManus is going to have his work cut out now. She's trying. Where would you make it go? Where would you run for it?
Well, that was a good spot, but she wasn't quite close enough to get down in and get underneath him. All 3 of those cars are running pretty even.
Now here come the leaders, and they're already getting amongst traffic, but this is a really good battle. Milton Grant just behind them, but Dyson looking as though he's kind of fed up of sitting behind Brabham, wants to get past and see if he can have a go at Grala himself. Grala still leading this race by just 0.165 from Brabham and Dyson. Pintarek in 4th place, then Thwaites still ahead of Dreesy, and he's quite some 3 seconds up the road from Dreesy. So Dreesy lost some time. Claudio Burton still 7th. McManus, Ruman, Cope, and now Chocron getting back out on track. The Panamanian having pitted earlier. Well, Matt doing a good job here. He's being very patient, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He is. I think, they're going to say, oh, was that Burton?
Could be.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, they've gotten through traffic, but they're staying together.
That's
still a
Derek
blanket
Cope's
over
just
them.
got past.
Oh, that was Derek. Okay, that was right. Those cars look kind of alike.
Yep.
It's good to see some of the NASCAR drivers getting back into
Absolutely.
this. Yeah.
And also, of course, in TA2, we've got a host of youngsters coming through. That's been a big part of Trans Am in the last couple of years as well.
Exactly.
Another lap completed then as they come out of the carousel. And Kaz Grala, if he didn't know it already, he has got a famous name and a young up-and-coming driver in Matthew Bradman, who's had a really interesting run of different careers in his lead-up to Trans Am. He's done a bit of truck racing. He's done single-seaters, of course. He's currently doing Indy Lights as well as Trans Am. But he took like a duck to water to Trans Am. He does historics as well. He's been in SVRA. He and Jeff Brabham put on a great display of racing a few years ago at COTA. And that's when I first saw Matt race. And when he comes in as a guy that is basically a ringer coming in to race a car in a one-off, as he's done many a times before, this time for Humaid Masood, but he really doesn't ever waver. And in fact, he came in when Dyson couldn't race at COTA last year and did a great job winning the race there.
Did a good job, very good job. Looked like Amy got around McManus. She'll probably, I think he was holding her up a bit. I think she'll probably put some distance between them now.
Well, that puts her up to 7th position now behind Tommy Dreesy, but she's got, some 10 seconds to catch up on Dreesy. But a safety car or some incident may just help her out, but she's certainly making her way in this race. 14 laps gone then, and through the carousel they come. Round and round they go. After the carousel, it's the main straight, and then the dive into turn 1. What's the hardest part to get right in this Mid-Ohio, or what can easily go wrong if you make a mistake?
I like turn 1. I always have. It's a good turn. If you hit it right, you feel good at it. I guess probably the worst one to make a mistake on is 4 because you've got such high speed. Then you've got 5 and 6. If you don't go over that hump quite right, you'll end up going to the outside and have a lot of spins there. The whole course is technical, and it's I'd say it's easy to get out of shape at any one of those spots of the track.
Yeah. On board with Ken Thwaites now, and he is running strong. As we expect from Ken, he's up to 5th place at the moment, and more importantly, he's ahead of Tommy Dreesy. So if it finishes this way, he will take 2nd overall because they're equal on 135 points coming into this race, but I'm sure they're not thinking about that right now. They just want to finish on the podium, both of them, I'm sure, and at the moment they're running 5th and 6th.
We got another car coming into pits. Is it Jose again?
Yeah, it looks like Chevron is back in the pits. So whatever the problem with that Corvette is, it looks as though it's occurred again. He tried it, or tried to rectify it, but he's back in the pits again. So not a good run as Pintarek passes our commentary position. Still running strong. Ken Thwaites definitely taking some time out of him though. His last lap a 124.5, and that's compared to Pintarek's 125.1. So at the moment, Ken Thwaites doing a good job of catching as we go back on board with Tommy Dreesy. He comes under the bridge now. And the keyhole key as well, coming into the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers now, as Tommy is. How do you get it right to get the drive or the full drive out of here?
It's kind of a decreasing radius turn, so when I go in, it's kind of like about the middle of the track and sort of hold that line. You cut your apex a little late and then accelerate out of the turn. Try to get the throttle down just as soon as you can. Too soon and you'll end up pushing the car. Too late, then you won't get the speed that you need, because you're really shooting for like 171, 172, kilometers every 3 mile an hour by the end of braking for 4.
Yep.
So
yeah, Tommy was there. I noticed that he hit about 171 going down that back straight, and we're back on board with him now as he heads down Thunder Hill.
Yep.
Quite a slow corner that, but then opening back up, he'll get to about 100 miles an hour, and he does just over 125, in fact, and then back down through the carousel.
And the hindsight's always 20/20, but if you watch the speed at the end of the straight, you'll know how well they came out of the keyhole because they're going to have higher speed there.
Yep. So a little bit of traffic for Tommy Dreese, but he's pedaling well at the moment. The affable Californian, sponsored by Lucas, and makes a nice inside move there at turn 1 on Milton Grant. But of course, everybody's in their own race, so everybody's got to be aware of that. And the good thing about this, as we go back to the 29 of Seth Lucas in that Audi, the good thing is everybody is, even though they're in different races, everybody's aware because they're all competent drivers, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about wanting to say something about the skill of the drivers and the number of races that have gone green flag.
Yeah.
I don't want to jinx it, but
no, the level is high.
The level is high, yeah, and it really, and the respect is high. The respect among the drivers is high in the TA series.
Yeah.
It's something I think might need to be learned by some of the TA2 drivers, but it's one of those things.
Seth Lucas currently in 12th position at the moment for Arve Motorsports in their Audi R8. Nicely prepared. And it's been a good car to have in this championship.
It's a good, reliable car.
Yeah, very good car.
Yeah.
And in GT, definitely a good car to have.
Yeah.
And we've seen the Mustangs and, of course, Audi in GT as well as SGT as well.
Yeah, Tommy's struggling a little bit, I think. He's had a problem with the setup. They just a lot has changed. Tires have changed. You have a whole new team come together, and Paul does a great job at trying to meet perfection because he likes to win. There's no question about that.
Seth Lucas, of course, leading GT at the moment. Jack Rinke trying to chase him down. Jack in 16th at the moment. And then Milton Grant, the man here, leading in SGT at the moment. Grant in 10th position. So a top 10 and a win in SGT. Not a bad day at the office.
Not a bad day at all.
Milton, of course, with so much experience, like the man alongside me, Kerry Hitt, who will be back in action in TA at Watkins Glen after a few races off. But good to see Kerry is here. And what have you got prepared for us? Have you got a new car? Have you got anything up your sleeve?
We're going to run the Camaro.
Okay.
And what we did, we're working with a group called Racing for Heroes.
Okay.
They do a lot of work with our veterans who come back dealing with PTSD, and they're basically using racing as therapy, which is a
great idea.
Tremendous idea, yeah. And so we've got number 22, and that is to draw attention to the 22 per day who unfortunately give up and leave us, and we want to drop that number down to 0.
Good for you. That's a really, really good cause. So I'm glad you got that in.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna, and the chassis is an old Rocket Sports chassis, very similar to the one that Tommy's driving right now.
Okay.
Which goes to show that you have the cars that have been 15, 20 years old that are still competitive. And that's the great thing about the class of TA.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, because Tommy told me right at the beginning of the season, he goes, we're going to get a new chassis, it's going to be all new, but this chassis is really old. And he kind of gave it over as though it was not going to be competitive, but when they got the new chassis it would. But they've gone race after race and they haven't brought it in yet.
Yeah.
Here's Lee Saunders from Florida, former SGT, two-time champion, and I say former GT champion, but he's been an ever-present factor from my time watching SGT. Great guy, and always chooses the Viper, a bit like Cindy Lutz, loves that Dodge Viper. It's absolute missile in a straight line. If it's got a weakness, it may be in some of the faster corners.
Yeah, they're quick cars, very quick cars. Yeah, you mentioned Cindy, she does a great job with them. She gets out there and they do extremely well.
Bit of bad luck in this season, but we hope to see Cindy back in action soon. No change at the front. Grala still leading from Brabham and Dyson, but I would have thought Brabham and Dyson just waiting to pull the pin. 20 laps gone on the 45. And if you were in Dyson's team, where would you really attack? Because there's no real change at the front, and Grala's not getting away either.
He's not getting away. Yeah, there's no change. It's interesting. Probably, I mean, what he may be doing is Chris does a lot of strategy, and he may be saving his tires and just kind of going along till he gets down to maybe the last 5 or 10 laps and then just pours it on.
Well, interestingly, the top 4 have all gone into the 123s now. We started off in the 24s, and so all of them have upped the pace just a little bit. That could be fuel load, that could be the tires coming in, but definitely they're all on it. A 23.8 last time out. A 23.8 also from Brabham, and a 23.7. So Dyson just literally a smidgen quicker. But the top 3 pulling away. But Pintarek on the same pace as well.
Yeah, you can throw a blanket over those top 3 cars.
And there they
just
are.
Amazing, yep. It'll be interesting to see when Chris decides to make his move, because I think that he will, you know, and he'll start pushing. But they're turning some pretty good times right now.
Cary Grant in his 150th race. You saw him wave and say hello to his friends at home, and we do the same. Doing a good job. And the Grants, as always, well represented in Trans Am. Cary currently in, 13th position. His last lap, a 132.6. I wonder how close to his dad he can get. Milton currently in 10th position, and he's doing a 131.9, so they're not far off each other in time per lap. He just needs a safety car or something similar to get him closer.
I really like to see a father-son team.
Yeah.
You know, they said family who races together stays together. There's a lot to that, you know, because I
had the privilege of working with Alex Brundle the other day, who just finished Le Mans a couple of weeks ago, but he's still a youngster of just 30 years of age. And I was asking him about racing with his very famous father, Martin Brundle, and they did their first Le Mans together. And of course, Martin's a winner of Le Mans overall, but he said it was great. And he said they really didn't give each other advice. He said, Dad doesn't really get in my way.
Yeah.
He says he knows what I can do and can't do, but really he was very proud to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the leaders then. No change at the front, but it's been pretty nip and tuck between them because they're swapping paint effectively, even though they're not changing positions. Now they're getting into traffic. It's starting to tighten up a little bit. What's going on here with the 9? We've got a little bit of smoke. Is that rubbing, or is that a problem with the engine?
Looks like that is...
That's Claudio Burton's car.
Claudio, yeah. That looks like tire.
Yeah, it looks like the tire's rubbing, as though he's had some bodywork problem. Here come your leaders. Look at this. How tight do you like it as they come past Seth Lucas? The 3 of them glued together, like you say. You could throw a blanket over them as they head towards the carousel again. Brabham yet to pull the pin. Or will it be Dyson, I wonder?
Well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if their team order's there, but I do know that both cars are quick, both drivers are quick. So,
well, 23 laps done of the 45 and 39 minutes. No caution so far. Though the man in trouble, Claudio Burton, I think he's just pulled out of the race. He's just gone into the pits. So we'll get an update when we can as to what that car is. I know Ben Sissle's down there at the moment. They clear Lee Saunders, do the leaders. So far, this has been an accomplished race by Kaz Grala, and there's no real surprise there. It might be his first Trans Am race, but the 23-year-old from Boston, Massachusetts, has had, he was the youngest driver to make the NASCAR playoffs at just 18. He was also the youngest NASCAR race winner at Daytona International Raceway at 18, and also the first pole sitter and the youngest at just 18. So he's already had an accomplished career, and he's not showing any signs of the pressure that these 2 very good drivers behind him are putting on him, especially now in traffic.
there's a lot of power in that Dodge. You can see Matthew, he gets right up on him.
Yep.
Right up on him there, going up the front straight, he's right on him, and then they hit the key, come out of the keyhole, and they just stretch it out.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on just exactly where the Mustang versus the Challenger is quicker and better, as you mentioned. Now let's watch him come out of the keyhole here and see if he pulls away down that back straight. Like I said, Boris Said has driven a very similar car to this for Poncho Weaver. Prepared brilliantly by the great preparation man who's had a lot of design input in the new generation NASCAR that's out there this year. Poncho Weaver.
Poncho's done a lot of work there. He works with his with Techniques, who they do rapid prototype. They've been very involved in doing the chassis for the new cars, and Poncho's with all his experience as a good troubleshooter, gets in and gets the stuff done that needs to get taken care of.
What about with you in advanced composites? Do you work with people like Poncho?
Absolutely, absolutely. We build the Mustang, we do the Dodge and the Cadillac, which there aren't any out there today, and of course, and the Camaro
used to run it.
Yeah. The car has been running, and the Camaro, and we have designed them and built them. We try to make sure that they've got aero parity, have them all in the wind tunnel to make sure that they're all equal aero-wise.
That's not cheap.
No, it wasn't. No, not at all. Not at all. But it gives you an example of the push that Trans Am is trying to make everything as equal as can be. And it looks like Claudio is... Oh, no, wait. Is that Claudio?
Yep, that's Claudio Burton.
Yep.
And as you can see, out of the car, so it's terminal, whatever the problem is.
Well, Claudia and I were kind of joking around with each other. Neither one of us are spring chickens. And he said he said I guess his first practice he made, he didn't make as many laps as he wanted to, but he came in and he said he was just exhausted. So he looks like he's pretty beat there. He's
never easy in this heat. And if you've got a problem, it almost makes it pointless to go around just for the sake of it.
Right. Go, and if it's an oil line or something leaking, you don't want to take a chance of breaking a line and oiling down the track and messing it up for everybody else. So he did the smart thing.
Yep. Back with 5th place, Ken Thwaites, showing no signs, like a spring chicken out there at the moment. Claudio Burton retires. Too much grass on the grill, and that's something we alluded to earlier.
Yep.
And it's overheated, no surprise.
Yep, overheated.
And so is he.
And so is he, yeah. I'll ask him which one was overheated for the worst.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's something we drew attention to right at the beginning of this, and not a surprise then. You get grass in the grill, and then, and obviously, the little bit of bodywork that we saw also playing a part as well, and that's not easy. Hey, look at this. Matt Brabham. Into the lead goes Brabham for the first time. We were waiting for that moment to crack, and we were watching Claudio Burton quite rightly, but Brabham has pulled the pin and has taken the lead in the 21. Now will Dyson try to follow him through as soon as he can? Or will Grala come back at him? Because Brabham had a small stint at the start in the lead and Grala came back. We'll soon find out. Let's head down to the pits. Ben Sissel has made his way to Claudio Burton. Back down to you, Ben.
So I'm here with Claudio Burton, RaceSeat.com. Claudio, you came in, you looked a little overheated. What happened out there?
Well, it's definitely overheating. You know, the car was 260, 270 the whole time. You know, after about the 5th or 6th lap, I did everything I could. I got a good start and kept Ryan behind me and McManus. And then it just kept getting hotter and hotter. I had to let him go by, see if it cooled down, and it just never did.
And not only was his engine temperature hot, but they took the temperature of the cabin 150 degrees. And what happened is some of the grass, it was already overheating, he said. Then he went through the grass, it covers up the radiator, makes the engine overheat. But RaceSeat.com, the Chevy Camaro, Claudio, you'll be back racing with us, right? Gentlemen, back to you.
Great stuff, Ben, and that really was the explanation that we needed, because once you get to those kind of temperatures, both human and mechanical can't take it. 150 degrees, it wasn't long. He said that being behind McManus was obviously part of the problem and the longevity of that, and I wonder if the leaders were worried about that too, because I think they were playing the waiting game. 26 laps now gone, and look at Matt Brabham. He has pulled the pin, and now Dyson wants past Grala as quick as he can. Intriguing race, though.
It is. Here again, a lot of strategy.
Yep. Brabham's due a win, that's for sure. Back on board with Tommy Dreese. Dreese still in the top 6. He's got some time to catch up on Ken Thwaites, though. Ken Thwaites does get by him, and they're on different pace at the moment. Ken Thwaites 24.3s, he's clocking in, and Dreese's on 25.9, so Dreese may be saving some powder for the end of this race. And he's had some problems in the past, and maybe just wanting to get a decent result and wait for the last 10 laps to really go for it. And now, look at this! He's got problems on the hood there, really, really dramatically flapping there down the back straight as he comes into 4, and that's more than you should be. They've got the perfect man to tell me what's wrong with that.
Well, what has been happening with that is they're putting a lot of aero on these cars, which there's a lot of bracing that has to go up underneath the front end, and that flutter is actually caused by aero, and it is what happens is front splitter hits the ground, and then the downforce goes away for an instant, so it comes back up, and then it hits the ground again, but it does that in very rapid succession, and that's pretty much what's happening right there. If you get a look at the front splitter,
not too dissimilar from what's going on with Hamilton in Formula One.
Basically,
exactly. The aerodynamics just pushing the air.
Does a porpoising is what happens. It's exactly what was happening in Formula One.
There you go. We got it here in Trans Am too, folks, and Tommy Dreese's getting the worst of it. It probably won't be affecting him physically, but you could see the aerodynamics working and not working for the hood of that car as he goes down the back straight. We'll see it here. Look, you just see a moment of it here, but if we go back on board in a moment after the keyhole, you'll really see it as he gets to the end of the straight.
But I tell you, when you're inside of the car, it feels like it's going to just shake to pieces.
Look, here we go. Now we start to see it. Kerry, see what you see.
Yeah. See, he's getting down the straight. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. It's pinching it off, and it's just causing an aero vibration. And as he brakes and slows down, then it goes away. So
Tommy's experienced enough to know A, what it is, and B, that as long as it's not slowing him down dramatically, he's not going to do anything about it.
Well, but the bad part about that is every time it does that, it puts more stress on whatever it is that broke in the first place so that it happened. So it's an increasingly bad situation.
It gets worse with every time it happens,
exactly, right.
Let's see how bad it is through Thunder Hill, because he gets over 120 miles an hour here, and yes, you start to see it now.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's not too. I think he's got to get most of it on a straight, and then usually what happens is it's going to start earlier and earlier and earlier down the straight. So, yeah.
He's coming through the carousel. We might see it as he gets back up to speed down the main straight, past our commentary position, and down under the bridge. We'll start to see it just now. Oh, no! Ken!
Oh,
Ken Thwaites has gone off track. And that's just on the exit of the keyhole. Dreese goes past, and that's a place for Tommy Dreese. There he is.
Yep.
Well, Ken Thwaites has held him off, and now we've got a real battle on our hands.
How's his
Ken
grill
Thwaites,
look?
and he doesn't look as though he's got any damage. So let's hope that the car's okay, because Ken had a big off then, and now Dreese's right there again.
Yeah. So long as Ken doesn't have grass in his grill, I think he'll be okay.
Yep. Well, again,
see it starting a little sooner.
Yep.
Yep.
I bet Lewis Hamilton's watching this thinking, I'm not the only one. So we've got a real battle on our hands. Let's take a look at what happened to Ken Thwaites, because we've got the onboard, obviously. Kerry, what do you see? Pintaric coming through.
Yep.
And here comes Ken Thwaites. Simple spin.
Yep. Just got loose. Got loose.
Lucky. Good job of holding it too, because you can really get into a mess there, can't you?
Yep.
So back with Ken Thwaites. Now he's got a bit of traffic to deal with himself, and he's got Dreese. Here's another look from another angle. He comes under turn 1.
Yep, he just came under the turn. He got on the throttle probably just a little soon. Back tires are probably starting to go away. It's getting later in the race. You're getting hotter, and it just went. You've got fuel load that's burning off. You've got to play with your bars and adjust your bars if this is happening.
Well, he's back at it, and back at the scene of the crime, so to speak.
Yeah.
But this time, he's nicely through it, and no mistake this time.
Yep, got it good.
But as you can see, looming in the distance is the Lucas Blue, number 8 of the man himself, Tommy Dreese. They were both equal on 135 points. Coming into this race, they're currently 5th and 6th. 31 of the 45 gone. We've got a great finish coming up, guys, and it's not...
I can tell you the enthusiasm has now increased with Tommy for
I can see Ben Sissel is waiting to see if he can get a word with Paul Gentilozzi And I'm sure he'll have a lot to say. He always has a lot to say. But Dreesy now in a real battle with Ken Thwaites, and this could really get interesting. Let's head down to Ben. He has got Paul Gentilozzi.
So I'm with Paul Gentilozzi here, crew chief of Tommy Dreesy. What is your driver saying?
He says it's hot. He tried to wear a new vest for his cool suit, and it had the wrong plug in, so he left the vest on. Now he's cooking.
So now hot water might be going through his vest.
No water, just heat.
Just heat. It's hot, Paul Gentilozzi says, in Mid-Ohio. Back to you, gentlemen. Thank you. Sorry to make you do that.
So there you go, man himself. But look at now, Dreesy coming closer and closer to Thwaites, and Thwaites knows in the 7 he's got the attention of one of the greats, a former champion himself, an XGT champion and a Trans Am champion, going at it here in the TA race at Mid-Ohio 2022. Brabham leads by 1.3 seconds over Grala. And is it getting worse, I ask myself? Kerry Hitt, who is involved in the composites and the making of these bodies for these cars, knows all too well what's happening to Tommy Dreesy out there.
Yeah, what's interesting is he's running closer to Ken right now. For some reason, in me looking at it, it didn't seem as though it was quite as bad that time. So maybe being in the slipstream of
air
Ken,
helping,
right?
maybe,
Yeah, the dirty air, in that case, helping him, right?
Yeah, interesting.
Yep.
Well, we'll see if this battle really livens up, because we're now getting into the business end. 26 minutes to go, or 45 laps, whichever comes first. That's how it works in Trans Am. And there's no question that Dreesy needs and wants these points, but Ken Thwaites will do everything he can, having had that half spin, to hang on as they come through the carousel. Intriguing tactical racing here between the pair of them. Dreesy wanting by, and this is where Dreesy's so good. He's great at intimidating his opposition, and I just think Grala has had a problem. We haven't seen it because we're on board with Dreesy, but past our commentary position, real drama at the front of this race, but there's drama here too. Dreesy looks to the inside of the keyhole. Can he thread himself through that keyhole and turn the key and make it happen? Back to the back straight, and Grala in trouble at the front. But try as he might, Dreesy can't quite pull it off. A mistake again by Thwaites as he exits 4.
Yeah, I think Ken's losing his rear tires.
Yeah, no question about it. He's definitely losing grip. And now Grala, well, I saw them badly smoking down the main straight, but he's still going. And he's there with Brabham at the moment. So I don't know whether it was temporary or it's something that's going to become terminal, but you can see the smoke for yourself.
Well, sometimes it's not good when the smoke stops, because that means there's no more oil there to burn off.
Oh dear, don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Well, Grala's, though, the speed is there.
The speed's there, yeah.
Well, he had a big puff of smoke as he went past our comment. We both leapt up and went, oh my word.
Yeah.
But let's see, 33 of the 45, and Grala hasn't put a foot wrong, but look, you can see it now. It's just getting worse and worse. But it is on certain corners, which always makes me think that is more to do with bodywork.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like any bodywork is... Yeah, it seems to be a left-hand corner.
Yeah. Well, interesting. And now, Tommy Dreesy. Here we go. We'll see the Leely's Grala. It's on the left-hand, as you quite rightly point, which means it's the right rear, but it's really bad now. And that's getting very close to surely exploding, and now it is in real trouble, and now he can't see. This is a problem that Dreesy had a few races ago at Road Atlanta, and he's got to pull out of this one. Kerry, if you can't see and you've got smoke pouring into the cabin, there's no way that you can, in the cockpit like that, carry on. And sadly, Kaz Grala, who had pole position, his first ever Trans Am race, has gone up in smoke, and the Poncho Weaver Challenger is challenging no more. Oh, what a sad way to finish.
That's sad. I mean, Poncho builds such a good car, such a beautiful car. You know, the craftsmanship on that.
Well, meanwhile, Tommy Dreesy is pushing on, but we've had drama and we've now got a full course yellow. No surprise, because Kaz Grala is parked up and he's in a precarious position, which does change everything. Brabham holding on to the lead, but he's actually behind Dreesy as they come to the full caution yellow. And good to see Amy Ruman still in the top 7. And she's now chasing down Dreesy, and so that could be a really good grandstand finish between those two. Brabham not in that battle. It's Brabham versus Dyson, and Pintarik looking for a podium out of this now.
The thing about they're in a full course yellow, and that technically gives Tommy the advantage and get around the track and get almost a whole lap on Amy, who is now stuck behind the leader
I see
of
what
the
you mean,
race.
yeah. And that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he's gonna. That's disheartening.
Well, that's how we are at the moment. Full course yellow. We'll take a short break from Mid-Ohio because the drama, I'm sure, will unfold further. But Kaz Grala, the man who had pole position and had been leading this race for a while, is out. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Speed, endurance, desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim: to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Jonathan Green and Kerry Hitt bringing you the action from Trans Am, the first race of the weekend for Trans Am. And it's TA, XGT, SGT, and GT all in action here. And sadly, we lost our pole position man, Kaz Grala, who had been doing such a great job of staying with both Dyson and Brabham, who leads this race. Matthew Brabham, there he is, in the number 21. And continuing that legacy that is the Brabhams that's seen Jeff and John and Jack, of course, and now Matt. And it's great to see the Brabhams continuing in racing in any form, and the grandson doing such a great job and following in the footsteps of the great Brabhams before him.
You know, Grala really should be proud of his performance. I mean, this is one of those things that just happened. It's like one of the unknown that we talked about. Yeah. But what a great job.
So we're on board with Ken Thwaites here, and Ken currently in 4th position. I wonder if he'll be able to have a go at Pintarik before the end of this race. And certainly this caution will help. And we've certainly got an interesting finish to this, because what will want to happen, there's Ken Thwaites. He had a slight spin almost going round, but he did a good job of controlling the car. But recovered well, and then battled with Dreesy before this caution came out. But as the laps tick away, Kerry, how do you play this? You're hot, the car's hot, you're starting to think about managing the tyres, and you know you're going to have probably, a sprint of either 10 or less than laps. How do you play it?
Well, right now, just watching.
Just let me hold you there. I want to get that because I've just found out that Ben is with Poncho Weaver. So let's find out what happened to Kaz Grala.
All right, I'm with Poncho Weaver with Kaz Grala. What happened to the driver?
Well, we think it's a possible differential.
So we got a little bit of a technical gremlin, but we got the face that said it all from Poncho there, but it sounded like he was about to say differential.
Differential, yeah, and that would make sense. That would be all the smoke coming out from both sides of the rear.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So what a shame. It's really not a hard fix once they get to it. And I hope they get it back together, and I hope he can get a sponsorship program going to run both cars at Road America next week.
Yeah. So plenty of drama. Just heard that Tommy Dreesy also had a little spin round, so it's not just Ken Thwaites who's had been in the wars. And all the time, this lady here, Amy Ruman, doing a good job of staying in contention.
Such a shame she got stuck behind that. Boy, because she would be there. What I find interesting is, I was going to say, Tommy should be right on Ken's tail right now.
Yeah.
So a little bit of what I heard about with Paul Gianlosi saying something about his cool suit not working. That can be terrible. What you're doing is you're cooking yourself because your heat is staying in the water. The water doesn't move.
It's the old frog trick.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Not that I describe Tommy as a frog, mind you.
No.
You know what I mean,
know
which
exactly
is if you put a frog in water and then heat up the water,
they
the
never
frog
know
doesn't
it.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's pretty much what he's talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. Comfortable position to be in. I can tell you that from experience. So, what keeps you going out there is pure adrenaline.
Yeah.
The fact, though, that I think he's just kind of taking a breather. That he's.
Then you really notice everything around you. Yeah. Suddenly you notice your heartbeat, the heat you've got, the sweat, everything.
Exactly.
So we are in a trouble time here because Kaz Grala the car is yet to be moved. I saw a truck go by a moment ago to go and try and retrieve him, but that's the situation we're in at the moment. We've got a 100-mile race. Kaz Grala, the pole man, in his first Trans Am race in that Poncho Weaver prepared car. We were going to hear from him, but the camera went down slightly, and we got the basics of it, though, which was a differential issue for Kaz, which caused all the smoke to come out the back of the car. That makes sense now. And, of course, he couldn't see. And we had a problem like that with Tommy Dreesy not that long ago when Dreesy had the same problem at Road Atlanta and had to pull out of the race. His was an engine issue, but this was differential, we believe. But Matt Brabham leads this race at the moment. And there is the Honda Civic, our safety car, leading the way. And let's just quickly go over Matt Brabham then leading in TA. And then in SGT, it's Milton Grant from Lee Saunders. In GT, Seth Lucas continues to lead in that Audi, just going through shot there, the all grey and red Audi. And as they dive through the first turn, they'll be coming down towards the Big Machine Vodka Spike Cooler's keyhole once again. Now you see the keyhole, and it really is the sort of dominant factor of this race course, this sort of L-shaped, long horseshoe keyhole, as they call it. And it's a really important part of the track here. I've seen so many different races won and lost by last lap keyhole runs.
Yeah. And the thing about it is when you nail it and you hit it right, it just feels so good.
Yeah.
And when you don't, it's so bad. So
that's where Kaz is. He's in at the exit of the keyhole there.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just parked up there, see?
Yeah, they might. It's not unusual if the rear just end up breaking and locking up because he pulled off rather quick.
Which is why they're going to have to, literally, that's going to have to drag it on.
Yeah.
That's exactly, you've got it right, Kerry.
They can't tow it.
Yep, they can't. It's locked up because of the differential lockup. So they're going to pull it away, but it's going to take a couple of laps, and that means we're down to 15 minutes now. So we're in a race against time as they come through the Franklin Road Apparel turn 4 and up over the hill into the S's. And this is a tough time for any driver because, as you mentioned, you tell me, what are the factors that you're dealing with? You're dealing with the mechanical side of the car, and now, after 45 minutes of racing, the physicality of the car.
The physicality of the car, the physicality of yourself, too.
Oh, we just heard that Amy Ruman is running without clutch hydraulics now. How would that go if you were in the Corvette?
It really wouldn't be terrible as long as she doesn't have to start and stop. Because with these transmissions, they're a dog ring transmission. They're running the 5XD transmissions that she has one in her car, I have one in mine. They're really good transmissions. They shift well. You don't need the clutch when you shift them. You need the clutch to pull out those. So she's in trouble.
Yeah.
As long as she keeps going, she'll be okay.
Boy, if it wasn't for bad luck, she wouldn't have any.
Oh, I know. I feel so bad. She gets so much bad luck at her home track.
I know.
She has the Amy Army, as they said, coming out here. Everybody's supporting her. The family has been a mainstay in Trans Am. Her father raced. I raced against her father, and she's racing. The entire family races. And
who's quicker? Don't answer that.
The father, yeah. What they say on Top Gun, let's not ruin a bad day. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah,
They've. I've seen more bad luck with her at this track, and I just don't get it. But this isn't terrible. She's had a lot worse than this.
So we are under caution, 13 minutes to go, and it could be a race against the clock as we look ahead and high above the drone here. And our drone picture's doing a great job of giving us an illustration of just what it's like to race around this famous Mid-Ohio track. 2022 marks the 35th appearance of racing here at this circuit since 1967. And there have been 25 different winners, and I bet there's a few you've raced against here. Willie T. Wibbs, Wally Dollenbach Jr., you name it, Dorsey Schroeder.
Greg Pickett.
Of course.
Yeah.
Tommy Kendall. He's a
Scott
three-peat
Frick.
winner, yeah.
Yeah. Dorsey Schrader.
Yep. Dorsey Schrader, yeah.
Darren Brassfield.
Yep. Hans Stuck.
Huh?
Hans
Stuck.
Stuck, yeah.
Yes, Hans Stuck in the Audis.
Well, I said that Paul Gentilozzi, who we just spoke to earlier, he, of course, won in 98 and 99 and is a 4-time winner here.
Yeah.
And we'll see Doug Peterson in action tomorrow in TA2, but he won here back in 2014. Paul Fix has won here. Greg, of course, Ernie Francis Jr., a big-time winner. He loved this circuit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good driver. He's doing well in the Indy Lights. Had a little bit of bad luck in the SRX. He had some problems with the car, with the rack, I understand. But, yeah, that whole list, every one of them is familiar. I've raced against them one time or another.
Well, I'll tell you one man who's looking for a win is Chris Dyson. He's looking for a repeat. And he edged out Tommy Dreese this time last year by 1.6 seconds. He has 3 straight podium finishes at Mid-Ohio. 3rd in 2020 and 2nd in 2019, this man here in the Altwell 20. And I would have thought, given that Brabham actually is making some moves in the championship itself. He's done so many races, but because he's not a regular, I would presume that Dyson will try to get past, or at least a little bit of team orders will come into play.
Possible.
For a 6th win?
Possible. I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. And David Penterick is now in 3rd, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
there he is.
Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He told me, he said, I'm going to podium today.
There you go.
Good job.
You know what? We talk about Amy Ruman's bad luck here. Since 2012, 9 straight finishes off the podium. 4th in 21, 7th in 2020, 4th in 2019, 12th in 2018, 11th in 17, 10th, 12th, 14th, 7th. She won't like me going through this list, but hey, her last podium, 2012, 2nd place. Come on, Amy.
Maybe we'll lay all this out and break the jinx.
There you go. Good to see Ken Thwaites going so well, and great to see David Penterick. Yeah. Tell me more about this car, because you were saying it's a new chassis.
It's a new chassis. It was developed, I don't know a whole lot about it. From what I do know is it was developed by Riley Technologies,
yep.
Right? And they wanted to kind of upgrade it. And although, again, when I looked at the chassis itself, what I saw stood out is there are some areas that they did some really nice things in terms of ease of working on the car.
Okay.
The rest of it I probably can't say because I don't know that much about it.
That's all right, because we're about to go racing again because the Honda Civic has pulled off, which means Matt Brabham now leads this field to a 10-minute less than sprint here to finish this race. We go to green, 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 and away goes the green and white of Matthew Brabham. Dyson is in 2nd place, but he's got Amy Ruman to contend with at the moment anyway. But he'll, I'm sure, dispense with her fairly quickly. And Penterick looking for that podium. Already kind of trying to make a move on Dyson. Will he get through? He said he was going to get a podium to you. Ken Thwaites just behind him. Then comes the Lucas. Number 8 of course, Tommy Dreese. Tommy Dreese in that number 8. Trying to get ahead of Ken Thwaites. Good little finish to this one. 9 minutes to go. 41 of the 45 complete. And try as he might, he can't get past Amy at the moment. She's got those hydraulic problems.
It's a hard lady to get around.
No, absolutely.
There we go.
And finally, he's done it here, but I think that was polite more than anything else.
I think it was. Amy, yeah, exactly.
And now Penterick wants past as he comes over the hill and does so. As they head down towards Thunder Hill, Penterick trying to make a last gasp effort to try and get past Dyson. Dyson trying to see if he can challenge Matt Brabham is off and running. Look at him, back to 2, maybe 3 car lengths as they come towards the carousel. And Dyson closing right up at the carousel. And Twait's not out of this by any means. He'll want to try and dispense of Amy as well.
Well, he's got Amy in his sights now.
Yep. So, an interesting finish to this one. Will Dyson try to take the win? He's had 5 already. He's dominated the season. And if I know Chris Dyson, he'll want the win. And given that it's his teammate Matt Brabham, who he brought in to replace Humaid Masood, who's got business work to deal with, couldn't make it here to Mid-Ohio. Oh, Dyson, though, makes a mistake there. Rare mistake from Dyson.
He's pushing.
Yeah, he is
May
pushing.
not be team orders there, you know.
Well, I think that's because...
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, I think Matt's just so quick and has got to speed with these...
Oh,
no! And that's the 07 McManus.
Okay. That's...
that flash of flame was just him putting the car out, I think, rather than it looked like it was going up in flames.
He's in there.
Yep, but he's okay. And stuck in the gravel. That could bring out another caution if we're not careful, but we're green at the moment. But he has spun out, and now Dyson, as you can see from above, high on the drone. We have got another caution. Kerry.
Might end up this way.
Yeah, it could end up this way. Kerry hit alongside me, Jonathan Green, as we go back to our second caution of this 100-mile race. And Matthew Brabham tries to remain cool, tries to keep calm as he comes out of the carousel for another time with Dyson right behind him. Pintarik now solid in 3rd place, and Twait's still there in 4th, but with Amy Ruman between them. Ruman currently in 6th place, so she doesn't want to give too much up at the moment as well. And it's going to be interesting to see where they all pan out. There's Tommy Treacy. He had a little spin as well. There's Milton Grant leading in SGT. And Carrie Grant now 2nd in SGT. So the battle is on between the two. There's Carrie just in the distance there. So that could be good for the restart. Father versus son. And there's Carrie, and there's Lee Saunders also in that battle with them for the 1, 2, 3. And there's Seth Lucas leading in GT. Jack Rinke, though, moving up a couple of places. They've got Todd Naparalski between them. So Seth might be a little bit more nervous than he had been now with these 2 stoppages or these 2 cautions. But it's going to be, what, a 2-lap sprint, if that, because it's going to take a while to get that car out of the gravel.
It may end up under...
under caution.
Yeah. So hypothetically, it'd be interesting here. If there would be team orders, then Brabham would almost have to pull off.
Yeah.
But then if he pulls off, he'd have to go through the pits because he wouldn't be allowed to pass under yellow. So go to the pits, and then they lose a 2nd place at the 2nd podium.
Well, that won't happen then. That's a good point, that, actually.
Yeah.
Very good point. Kerry Hitt, using your vast experience to actually, point out a very good point, which is the only way now that Matt can help his teammate win the race is by pulling into the pits, which really is not going to help the team. So I think it's going to stay this way.
Yeah. Well, Chris has a 52-point lead, I believe.
Yeah,
he's got a pretty good lead.
51 coming into this,
Yeah, that's a pretty substantial lead. So,
and given that, given that it's only Matt there, Matt's going well in the championship, but he's down in 8th or 9th position, I think, at the moment. So no challenge.
He's kind of a part-timer, right? Exactly.
So into the carousel. Great, nice view of the carousel there. There's the 39.
Carousel is an interesting turn in the track.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot more undulation than it looks at first. When you actually see it from we're quite low down in our commentary position, just on the exit of that carousel. And as Naparalski goes through, the field all gathered together now. Interesting to see the 2 Grants, line astern, Milton coming through in the orange and white, and then the blue and white of Carey behind him.
There's a little bit of an off-camera. Again, the carousel is one of those turns that if you make it right, it feels really good.
Yeah.
But it's easy to get off. And, as I had mentioned, track 4, 5, and 6. That's the first time I've been out here for like 35 years, and it's the first time that I've ever seen the track from that perspective. And
I
when
don't suppose you'd have any reason
no,
to, yeah?
No, and when I walk a track, I usually will turn around and I'll look back and walk it backwards, and I look at it from two different ways. It's just the way my mind sees it. But I never looked at it from 20 or 30 feet above as we did off the balcony. So it was a very interesting observation.
Well, here's a bit of good news. It looks like we're going to get a green lap for the last lap. So there you go. We'll have one lap sprint, which makes the race really interesting for a lot of reasons. Ken Thwaites against Tommy Dreese, Pintarik against Dyson, Dyson against Brabham, and then Amy Ruman right in the thick of it. Will the Grants go head-to-head in 7th and 8th? Lee Saunders in that battle as well, and then Seth Lucas trying to get past and see if he can hold on to that GT position. So we've got a grandstand finish here for our fans watching on the live stream. We thank you for tuning in to the Speed Tour this weekend. Plenty more to come up on a full day of racing tomorrow. More come today as well. So don't go away if you're tuning in wherever you're tuning in around. My thanks to Kerry Hitt for coming in here. He'll be racing again at Watkins Glen against these boys and girls, and we're looking forward to that coming up in September.
This has been a very interesting race.
Yeah.
It's been exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
And everybody getting a little tense as well.
Steve Dix from, he's actually Greg Pickett's crew chief also, and Greg loaned him to.
And I wonder what he's telling Dyson or Matthew Brown at this point. Soon find out.
I think we will.
All right, well, let's get ready. Steve gets ready. We're doing the same. Here we go then. Brabham puts the metal to the pedal, and away we go. Into turn 1. Pintarik still in 3rd place. Dyson itching to get past. One more lap to go. This the final lap. Plenty of action to come. Dreese goes high and wide, but gathers it all together. Amy Ruman still in the hunt despite the hydraulics problems. And here comes Dyson. Dyson looking for a way past the youngster, the 23-year-old Matthew Brabham, based in Indianapolis, but of course, part of that great dynasty that is the Australian Brabhams. And down the back straight here at Mid-Ohio and into turn 4. Brabham holding court here as the Altwell team. Line astern, 21 and 20. Dyson leading the championship by 51 points coming into this race. And Kerry, where, if anywhere, is Dyson going to make that move?
Could be the carousel.
Oh, that would be interesting.
That could take it right down to the last minute, wouldn't it?
It would. Well, he's not got time to do anything else because here we are at Thunderhill.
Yep.
I've got a feeling that Brabham's going to continue to win this race and not
like
hold back. Yeah.
Looks like it. Yeah.
So down to the last corners then here of this famous track. Brabham looking for the win ahead of his teammate Dyson. Dyson's done everything. Kaz Grala was a factor early on, but it's going to be a 1-2 for the team, and it's going to be Matthew Brabham who takes the checkered flag. Dyson second, and Pintarik holds on for what would be an excellent podium for him. He'll be delighted with that. Thwaites takes 4th place, Dreese 5th, and Ruben crosses the line and saves her blushes, no question about it, in 6th place. Milton Grant holds off Carey to take victory in SGT, and Seth Lucas is going to win in GT and take a top 10 finish and good points as well. Great racing. My thanks to Kerry Hitt, but try as he might, I don't think he was going to pass Matthew. It might have been another 5 laps before he got a chance to do that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't going to happen. You can see that. You can see they're coming down into Thunder Hill, and he opened up a gap there. I knew pretty much. Yep.
And if you're going to employ a guy to race, you've got to keep him hungry, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You give him the odd bone now and again, and he'll come back. Because victories are victories. He's never won in Trans Am when Dyson's been in a race, to be fair. Yep. So that's good. And he, of course, won at Kota. And he's always been, whenever he's raced in Trans Am, always competitive. But it's great to see Matt Brabham winning a race here in Trans Am.
You know, I got to say, Trans Am, the series Trans Am has been around for a long, long time. It is so good, so competitive, and I think right now you're going to see more and more of the NASCAR drivers and the other drivers that want to get in and get some diversity. Derek Cope, I had actually talked to him when he was looking to get into it, looking to buy a car. He's excited about it. I'm thinking that there's going to be more and more drivers that are going to look at Trans Am, especially now that the NASCAR format is leaning toward road racing.
Yeah, and also I love the fact that the tradition of having production cars in XGT, SGT, and GT is true to the 1966 original format, where it was production cars that dominated. Now we've got the tune frame, stock type cars that are out there in the TA format, but of course the engines and the battle between Mustang and Challenger is still very much a part of this championship, and it really does bode well for the future.
True, and the other great thing about it is because of you take Tommy Dreesey's got a 20-some-year-old chassis.
Yeah,
I've got a chassis that's that old, that Rocket Sport chassis. There are a lot of these cars that are sitting home in garages somewhere. Bring them out. I mean, the racing is tremendous. This was a pretty thrilling race.
Yeah, it was.
It's a great series to be in. Like to see more participants, especially in the TA. So, and anybody who has a car out there, they can run it in Trans Am in the state that it's in now, or they could change the body and go right up and over these guys in the modern day. So they have the historic. That's not the historic. What is it, Jonathan?
The heritage.
The heritage. That's it. The heritage class. I mean, they bring the car out, dust it off, and put gas and oil in it. And
away you go.
Go out. Yeah.
Well, here come our winners into the winner's circle. Ben Sissel doing the job of making sure they all get into the right place. A quick check on the tyre pressure, and we'll see the beaming face of Matt Brabham in a moment as he gets out of the car. But that was a good run and an excellent race. He started off, got the lead right at the very get-go, and then had to give it back to Kaz Grala, who took the pole position, and then they battled with each other for some 25 laps before Brabham at about 27, 28 suddenly pulled the pin and took the lead. Dyson wasn't far to follow, and then it became a two-way battle after Grala pulled out with that differential issue. Here he is. Well done, mate. So as soon as the helmet comes off, we'll head down and join Ben Sissel, and he's getting the applause and hugs from the whole team, and well he might, Steve, with the last hug there. And we'll hear from Matthew Brabham, the winner of our Trans Am race at Mid-Ohio 2022. Well done. Let's head down to Ben Sissel, who is moments away from having a word with our winner, Matthew Brabham.
3 wins in a second. So, Matt Brabham, 3 times in Trans Am. You've won twice and you've got second place. How does it feel?
I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, it's a pretty good record, but I owe it all to the car and Chris and the team. I mean, these cars are so awesome to drive, and when you have one as good as this and as prepped as well as the team does, I mean, it just makes it a dream. So, yeah, I just had so much fun out there racing with Kaz. He was a really good guy to follow. I mean, we were racing like so close. I mean, there was inches between us for most of the race, and then managed to sneak around. And then obviously had an issue, and yeah, I was just waiting for Chris to pass me because I knew he was saving tires, and I wasn't. I was just going all out. So I was waiting for Chris to pass me, and those yellows, if anything, probably helped me because they were so quick in concession that Chris just didn't have enough laps to get around me. So big thanks to the team. They were so awesome all weekend, and yeah, these cars are, as I said, the team does such a great job with these cars and makes it easy for me to come in and do well.
Nice. Well, Matt Brabham, unbelievable. Here we are, Winner's Circle, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. You're back here next weekend racing, is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be back racing this next weekend here at Mid-Ohio, so I'll miss out on Road America, but, you know, Chris is going to do a good job, and, yeah, big thank you to Chris. I really appreciate it.
Nice. Well, Matt Brabham, congratulations. Jonathan, back to you, buddy.
Hey, he also won a karaoke contest last night.
Great stuff, Ben. And let's take a quick look at the overall results after what was a really intriguing race. And a win for Matthew Brabham. And he's coming back here next week for all Graham Ford Mustang wins ahead of the Altwell teammate Chris Dyson. And well done to him. David Pintarek on the podium again for Kydra Racing. Great to see. And a sweep for Ford in this one. Ken Thwaites for the Franklin Road Apparel Chevrolet takes 4th place ahead of Tommy Dreesey in 5th. Then Amy Ruman 6th. Milton Grant wins in SGT ahead of Lee Saunders, who got ahead of Cary Grant right at the end there to take 8th place. Well done to him. Seth Lucas leading and winning in the Arve Motorsports prepared Audi. A little further down, Todd Naparalski, Jack Rinke, Ryan McManus, sadly, with problems. Likewise, Kaz Grala pulling out, as what did Claudio Burton, Derek Cope, and Jose Chacron in 17th position. So, as we take a deep breath, let's take a look at some of the highlights of what was a cracking race in TA. It looked like this. Right at the start, Kaz Grala, the pole man, had to relinquish that position to this man, Matt Brabham, who went right high and wide around the outside and took the lead at the exit of 4 and into 5, and that was a bold maneuver. But Kaz Grala, as we can see from Chris Dyson's position, took it back down the back straight the following lap, and from there on in, it was that way for about some 25 laps until this man got the lead. Then we had the shake, shaddle, and roll of the Lucas car as a little bit of porpoising on our own style in Trans Am. Talking of porpoising, a whale of a moment there for the man of the moment, Ken Thwaites, who had a spin, or at least a half spin, but gathered it all together. Kaz Grala goes out, smoke goes in, and he is out of the race, but it was no problem for Matt Brabham, who wins ahead of his teammate, and will try to do it again next week. Well done then to Matthew Brabham. Kerry, your thoughts?
Well, it was an exciting race. There's no question about that. I'm really glad to see there were no team orders, and that's what I thought it would be with the Dyson team. They're really a great group of guys. I think Ken did a great job. Tommy Dreese, boy, he was out there trying. I think he just had one of those weekends. But when you look at where he came from, Lime Rock, and what they did to the car and put it back together, they did a tremendous job. The car is gorgeous. So they'll be ready for Road America next year or next week, and I think it's kind of going from then.
Well, we look.
Go ahead.
We look forward to seeing you at not at Road America, but at Watkins Glen coming up in September. And there's Chris Geisen celebrating with his man. And I don't think there's any love lost in terms of no, it's all friendship, very much so. So let's have a look at our chill out moment. It's no surprise that it goes to this man, Matt Brabham, because he was the coolest man under pressure. He was under pressure. So for our chill out systems, chill out keep cool move of the race. Well, it was a race-long keep cool move because he basically kept cool to take victory and take the lead early on. And from there on in, he soaked up the pressure from both his teammate and Kaz Grala and didn't lift an inch and held it all the way to the finish. Great stuff. And that is why keeping cool is what it's all about in motor racing. Well done to Matt Brabham. He is our chill out systems cool move of the race. So let's take a look at also the action from the production classes, as SGT was in great form as well. They got away well, and it was Milton Grant in the 55 who out-qualified his son, and he led for the entire race. But Lee Saunders, right at the death moment there, last lap, did a really good job of getting past Harry Grant to take second place in that battle, and Seth Lucas here winning in GT, and he held off Rinke throughout the race and was in a good position. Milton Grant then wins in the 55, number Porsche, to take the victory in SGT. Another handy one indeed. Carried in third. Seth Lucas winning in the 29 in GT. Let's head down to Ben Sissel for the podium celebrations.
autograph session is underway, by the way, for the Portland Small Americas and the F4 U.S. Championship drivers. I'd like to get an autograph of the stars of the future.
Here. All right, Jack, that had to be a lot of fun out there. Tell us how your race was.
Oh, it was great. It was awesome. Made do with what I had. The 2013 Camaro held up throughout the entire race. Was really happy. Just try to keep pace, try to improve every lap, and have a good time.
Nice. I love it. Jack Rinke. And now, Seth, you got to explain some things because I think you brought your fan club out here.
Huge thanks to everybody for coming out. Huge thanks to everybody at Motul for sponsoring us, and everybody at Oven Motorsports for supporting us this weekend.
Come on, let's hear it. Jack Rinke, Seth, Lucas, hold those things up. I like these fans in the GT class. Keep it up over there. We are going to have to change hats. So when you do come up here, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you talk loud in the mic because we got cars passing us. Hey, crowd, let's hear it one more time. Jack Rinke, second place. Seth Lucas, first place. Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, GT class. Are both of you old enough for champagne? All right, no champagne for number one here. We've got Chuck Norris Sea-Force water right here for Seth Lucas. And then we've got some champagne. I guess we can spray that on, Seth. I'm not sure. All right, here we go. Gentlemen, let's hear it one more time. Jack Rinke, Seth Lucas. You can just pour one out or drink it, whatever you want to do. You don't have to spray each other. Oh, you're going to spray. That's just wrong. That's wrong. That feels good. According to the bio on that Sea-Force water, it's a roundhouse kick of hydration to the face. I love that. Chuck Norris's water. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. Welcome to the Trans Am Series. That is awesome. Good show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Super GT. In third place in SGT, all the way from the Memphis, Tennessee area. Let's hear it. Cary Grant. And then in SGT, these three always seem to make the podium with us in different orders. In second place in that black Dodge Viper, two-time SGT champion. Let's hear it. Lee Saunders. And then, ladies and gentlemen, as Cary Grant would say, Pops back up on top in Masters and first place in SGT. Let's hear it. Milton Grant. All right, I know it means a lot to be up here on the podium. You're still the same height as your dad, even when you're down here. But how does it feel, even though you got bested by Pops again?
Oh, it feels great. He doesn't know if that was his late Father's Day present. Anyway, it was a great race today. I was right on him at the end, had a lot of fun. I'd like to thank my crew, Mike and Larry, did a great job this weekend. My Savior, Jesus Christ, and all the Trans Am people. We had a great time. And had pickup on the tires after that restart, right before that last restart, and Lee did too, and we were both scrambling around trying to get it off, and we finally did, but it was crazy. He's actually stopped in the pit lane, so great race. Thanks to everybody. Thanks for coming out.
Nice. Cary Grant. Lee Saunders, welcome back. Not the Viper that we're used to seeing, but how was that one?
It did really good for what time we had. Yeah, I was in a Grant sandwich today, so it was a ton of fun. Though they raced us really clean, crazy restarts, and yeah, like Cary said, I thought I had a flat. We came in, and turns out it was just pickup. So crazy day, but they just did an awesome job. Milton did a great job, and I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ too, Cary, just for a wonderful day out here and opportunity to do this. And the KSR crew, they thrashed to get that car together. Kevin, Drew, those guys are awesome. I think they've had a couple hours sleep in the last 4 days, so 3 or 4. So again, thanks to them, and thanks for Trans Am for putting this on. Awesome.
Nice. I love it, Lee Saunders. You know, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is a special course when it can be Porsches and Vipers pulling about the same lap times. Milton, first in Masters, but first on top in SGT. How does that feel?
great. Again, of course, Jesus Christ, my Savior, also is to give us this beautiful day. This is my first Trans Am win, so after hitting my 500th race here last year and had my first Trans Am here this year, I think I really like it. My wife Ruth came to the race, and she doesn't ever come with me, so she supports me all the time. But it's great to have her here, and she needs to be at every race so I can get first every race. So it's a great thing. So I want to thank also my crew, Mike, and for being here and doing everything he needed to do, and my granddaughter Allison, who is here also, who's supporting me. So it's a great day.
Nice. I love it. Milton Grant. Obviously, it takes a lot of faith to run in Super GT. Let's hear for these men of faith. Kerry Grant, Lee Saunders, Milton Grant. I think this is Kerry Grant, 150 race starts, is that right? And Milton, just a few, it seems like seasons ago, you were at 500 race starts. So unbelievable up here, Super GT. All right, fans, crowd, let's get loud. One more time, Super GT, Kerry Grant, Lee Saunders, and Milton Grant, and first place in Masters. That is a lot of fun. Oh, we've got a gentleman's podium, even with father-son. Hey, Ken Twaits, 2 out of 3 Tennessee right here. It's pretty good. Lee, congratulations. Thank you. Welcome back. Milton, awesome job. And Kerry, am I right? 150 race starts? Sure. Nice. Who wants a hat? Anybody want a hat? Doing some housekeeping. Does anybody over here want a hat? Oh, here we go. Come on now. Boo. All right, ladies and gentlemen, TA 850 to 900 somewhere horsepower monsters in the Masters class from Tennessee. Let's hear it. Ken Twaits, Franklin Road Apparel. That was fun. Ken, get up on the top step there.
I'm the first old guy.
He says I'm the first old guy. Good race. How was it?
Oh, man, it was it was a great race. You know, Tommy and I were having a great race in the beginning. He didn't give up at all, and it was pretty cool. Middle of the race, I was trying to run down David, and it was just awesome. These cars are just so awesome. Thanks to my crew, Gary Seelix, Jr., and all the rest of the guys. They worked their butts off, and they gave me something that finishes the race no matter what I try to do to it.
Ken Twaits, Masters. Look at that. I've been to Ken Twaits' shop, and he proudly displays these trophies in his shop. Uh-oh, throwing it out. There we go. Gary Seelix might want to go Frisbee golfing with Ken Twaits. One more time, Ken Twaits Masters, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Ken, I hate to do this, but man, better than last year, right, buddy? Nice job. Ken Twaits, he'll be back with us tomorrow. Franklin Road Apparel in TA2 with Cameron Lawrence, who always puts on a good show here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. But now we're going to go TA, and what a show it was. In third place, from the Buckeye State. He calls this his home track. Let's hear it. Number 57, David Pinterick. In second place. Maybe Dyson Racing doesn't know the meaning of team orders because that was a crazy finish. Let's hear it. Last year's TA champion, current points leader, Chris Dyson. In first place, he will be racing here next week. He won a karaoke contest last night. Let's hear it. First place, Matthew Brabham. Let me tell you a little something about these TA cars. Claudio Burton got out of his car a little more than halfway.
They put a laser thermometer in the cabin. It was 155 degrees. Penteric, you got out like you got out of an oven. How's it feel to be back up on the podium?
We can't take this for granted. It feels very good. It's been a tough road for the last 2 years with health and new car bugs, but it's so good to be back.
David, when I introduced you, when you came up the stairs, there were a lot of emotions. Try to explain the emotions.
Well, you know, we started a new car with Ave Riley, a beautiful automobile, but supply chain problems because of COVID delayed the finish of it. And then January of this year, I got COVID pretty bad, and I was down for a good 8 weeks. We went to Sebring, and I couldn't finish 3 laps. So it was a long road, and by May, I started getting my strength back, and we struggled with the car a little bit. And last week, we were up in June Sprints at Road America and finally got it, and it's so good to be back. So good.
Hey, we love having you back, David Penteric. That's awesome. We love it. Chris Dyson, different view for this race. Are you able to, knowing your engineer mind, you're looking at the back end of this car, are you watching it thinking, man, these things grip really well?
I mean, that was one of the best races I've ever been in, Ben, I got to tell you. I mean, and Kaz came this weekend and brought Poncho's car back out, and they were right up front, and that's fantastic for the series. Matt did a brilliant job all weekend, and we were nose to tail the whole way. We had a slightly different strategy. He was a bit more aggressive on the tires, and I think that helped him at the beginning. I was holding a little bit in reserve. Those yellows got in the way, or else it might have been real interesting. We just wanted to make sure the calls home to Dad were positive ones, and the call to Hamid as well. So we kept it clean, but we raced to the end because we wanted to put on a great show out here. And I'll tell you what, this guy last night was on stage. He was stroking on stage, but when he was up there on the track, he was on it all day, and had an absolute blast with Matthew. And I want to thank everybody from CD Racing for putting 2 great cars on the racetrack and keeping us up front in the championship.
Nice, I love it. Chris Dyson, second place. Matt Brabham, unbelievable. 2 out of 3 in Trans Am are victories. How's that feel?
Oh,
you take it.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, it's such a great racing series. I mean, these cars are some of the most fun cars I've ever driven in my life. And when you have a team like Chris's and the boys doing such a good job prepping the car, it's just a dream for me to come in and drive. So I said at Coda, there's no other team that I could have just come in and felt at home like with these guys. So big thank you to Chris, everyone at Allgram, and everyone at Chris Dyson Racing for making me feel at home. It's just been so cool to be hanging out with these guys, having fun last night doing karaoke and racing with these guys. I mean, it was hard racing out there. I mean, I was pushing the whole race, and that was kind of our game plan. I said, look, Chris, I'll push the whole race, and if you want to save tires, you can save tires. And I think if there wasn't those yellows at the end, Chris probably would have got me. So I had nothing left. I had no tire left, and I was pushing hard the whole race. And obviously, big shame for Kaz. It was great racing with Kaz early in the race, and we had some great side-by-side battles. So hats off to him. He's an incredible driver, and I'm sure he would have been right there with us at the end had he not had issues. So thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Cheers.
Thank you. I love it. Let's hear it. David Penteric, 3rd place from the Buckeye State. Chris Dyson, 2nd place. And Matt Brabham, 1st place. Let's hear it. Get loud, Mid-Ohio. It is hot out there. And what a show. Look at that, throwing out the hats. I love it. Always all right. Mid-Ohio, get loud. One more time. David Penteric, Chris Dyson, Matthew Brabham. TA, right here. Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. What a show. Gentlemen, I believe that was the best TA race of the season, in my opinion. That was unbelievable. I'm not sure Penteric is old enough for champagne. All right, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Oh, Dyson's pointing at him. Are the teams going to work together? Oh, Chris Dyson, one for the homies, like a gentleman, like a gangster gentleman. And David Penteric, congratulations. Hey, Matt Brabham, good luck at Mid-Ohio next week. Nice job. And don't leave, Matthew Brabham. Because, ladies and gentlemen, our chill-out systems, cool move of the race goes to Matthew Brabham. Hold that up. You got it here. I'll take this. Chill Out Systems. Keeping it cool out there. Hold that up for our photographer there. The Happy Gilmore check. There we go. And then where is Larry? Is Larry here? Oh, come on up here. Don't go too far, Matt. I'll take your check. What's your first name again? Rhett. All right, so Rhett from MCO Gears would like to award you a $500 check. Our MCO Top Gear Award winner goes to Matthew Brabham. Look at that. Now, one more reminder, Mid-Ohio, Matthew Brabham will be back here racing next weekend. Matt, 2 out of 3, unbelievable. Second place on the other one at Lime Rock. So happy to have you. We hope you race more with us in the TA Series. We're going to try to find you more rides. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it today for the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. We'll be back tomorrow with TA2. Fan walk up in the paddock. Meet us back here. Thank you so much.
Hey, you are awesome. What a show, seriously. Hey, and
Thanks, Ben. As always, fun times had on the podium and some great stories to deal with. And the action continues here at Mid-Ohio, but we're going to take a break, and we're going to take a substantial break, but have a look. We'll be back in about an hour, and those ladies will be ready to enjoy all the action yet again. I hope you're enjoying the action from Mid-Ohio. I'm Jonathan Green. My thanks to Ben Sissel and to Kerry Hitt. We'll be back with some more SVRA action very soon. Stay with us here on the Speed Tour from Mid-Ohio.
This is my house. My parents helped build it. Now we don't get wet when it rains. I don't get too hot or too cold inside. I can play with my sister. I can play with my brother. I can play with my mother, my father, my family. This is my house.
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 Visit Habitat.org to find out how you can help more families like mine.
My name is Monse, and I am a senior at Cristo Rey. We bring high school students and corporations together to transform education. I work 1 day a week at Ryan Companies. There are Cristo Rey schools serving students across the country. Visit CristoRayNetwork.org and learn how you can become a corporate partner today.
As you can tell, I like to go fast. Our race team is really well prepared. We like to look good, but we also like to dress good, and that's why we shop at Franklin Road Apparel. I own the company, and I wear the clothes that we sell in that store. So check us out. We carry all the top brands: Baldwin, John Barbados, Billy Reed, Goodman Brand, and on down the list. So come see us, Franklin Road Apparel, Franklin, Tennessee.
Lightweighting means reducing mass and consolidating parts. No one tackles these design and tooling challenges better than 3-Dimensional Services. We'll provide flexible tooling solutions, including integrating parts, reducing design complexity, or even design changes. We're the go-to source for rapid manufacturing and low-volume production. Trust 3-Dimensional Services to develop the most efficient approach to meet your lightweighting challenges today. 3-Dimensional Services. Prototype, production, proven.